Hello everyone and welcome back to the Smogon YouTube channel. This is Gold Mason, back for another SPL commentated set, this one from week 9. It is Pkel SweeTforU versus Attribute, and I am joined by OU tier leader Finchinator.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. A pleasure to be back on the channel. We have an absolute gem of a battle here. For those who aren't familiar, Attribute is one of the best overused players. He transitioned from being a UU player, SS player, mono type player, wore various hats over the last couple years, into being one of the main forces in OU, dominating both the Smogon Champions League and now Smogon Premier League. His team, the Stark Sharks, are fighting out with Pkel's team, the Scooters, for a playoff spot. Both are in contention, but neither are locked heading into this Week 9 battle. As for Pkel, he actually had a stint in overused in SCL as well. That went pretty well. But more recently, he's been playing DPP up until the last week or so of SPL. So it's interesting to see his take on this metagame. Looking at teams, we see fairly offensive teams on both sides. Pkel actually is known for innovative offenses. We've seen him win with things like Scyther in DPP. We've seen him use all sorts of cool, definitely, pretty specific teams to his style. So this fits that narrative. We see Walking Wake that isn't like a boot set with spikes, and it's not like on Sun, so it's interesting to see what that's going to be. And then, some of the normal suspects of the metagame on offense, notably 2 dragon types with potential dragon dance sets in Roaring Moon and Dragonite to apply pressure, and then possibly Stealth Rock on Tusk, and the potential to block Defog and Rapid Spin from Goldango, which also focuses as like a check to things like Deoxys Speed, which we're seeing on a Tribute side, pivoting to his team. Again, pretty generic offense. I'd hazard a guess to say that between the Landorus T and Deoxys Speed, one of them has entry hazards, and then it's just really a matter of blunt force on the physical side between Roaring Moon, Ogerpon Wellspring, and King Gambit. A lot in this game is going to come down to what sets the Roaring Moons and Dragonite have, because they can potentially be win conditions, and B, how Attribute could use maybe a defensive Terror type on a King Gambit, on a Goldango, or maybe even on a Landorus to stop a potential sweep from the various win conditions Pkel has. Matchup wise, I'd say anyone can win. A lot's going to come down to sets and plays. This is the type of game where it's not going to last 100 turns. A lead matchup, getting up rocks, maybe a good sequence to start the game could potentially snowball into a victory. So we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out.
Absolutely, and let's hop right into it. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yep, so right from the jump, we're going to see Goldango versus a Wellspring. So this could play out in a number of different ways right from the jump. Goldango could potentially be a Thunderwave plus Hex set, but far more likely is going to be Nasty Plot with 2 attacks and recover, or even 3 attacks. If it's Thunderwave, it tanks, Ivy Sigil easily, or Knockoff easily, and then can recover off the damage. But more likely, if it is going to be the Nasty Plot variant, it's really just going to trade damage. It'll take about half, maybe a little over half of Knockoff, and it'll do around half, maybe a little over half with an offensive Shadow Ball, or a little under half with defensive. So I don't think we're going to see a switch turn 1, because switching in, say, Dragonite on a Knockoff would be really rough, and Roaring Moon isn't something you want to exhaust this early, so we're probably just going to see attacks. But I'd say this favors Attribute unless it's going to be Thunderwave from Goldango, so we're going to have to wait and see.
And here it comes. There's the...
Oh man. So right off the bat, that's obviously like as good of a start for Attribute as you can get. Knockoff, crit there. It doesn't really tell you much about Pkel besides it wasn't a fully defensive Goldango. If it's like the bold max defense one, a crit from Knockoff never is going to kill you. So it could have been like a modest set with Nasty Plot 3 attacks. Could have just been a faster one, which makes sense because opposing Goldango, even getting to jump on things like... for example, like opposing Dragonite is really crucial, but we're never going to know, the specific variant there, unfortunately, just due to the crit. And, Wellspring, it's always going to be max attack, so nothing new there. The one silver lining here perhaps is Goldango was facing 2 dark types and a ground type, and potentially an opposing Goldango that was quicker. So it's not like the worst Pokemon to lose, and you do reset momentum here. But in a game like this where, having a Pokemon advantage in a trade war is huge in preserving terrestrialization. That can go a long way for a very already strong player like Attribute. So we're going to have to see what Pkel elects to counteract this with. Probably going to see a Dragon type Or, oh, we're going to see Great Tusk. So I wonder if he's going to go for rocks, or maybe it could be a bulk up variant. Maybe it could be close combat as well. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and activating the booster energy already, so...
yeah, it is quicker, so that's good. It means it also is max HP, so it should live any attack barring Adamant Power Whip or a critical hit from Ivy. So, yeah.
Just goes for
Rocks
the stealth
here.
rocks.
Ivy, yeah, it only does 85, so you're going to get... Oh, and that's a really cool tech there on the Endeavor, so that is at least going to leave this in range for like an Extreme Speed, or virtually any attack from Roaring Moon or Iron Valiant. Plus, if it switches out, Stealth Rocks will then only allow one more entry. In this game, pretty much everything can beat weakened Wellspring, so while he did lose 2 Pokemon, it shouldn't be much more of an issue if that's any consolation for Pkel, but being down 2 Pokemon early is rough, admittedly.
Yeah, and we're going to see Dragonite come in, as you expected, possibly to get that Extreme Speed.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be some nice chip there as well, but this is probably a bulkier Deoxys Speed, seeing it only took 31%, so I wouldn't be shocked if we see either a Thunder Wave or a knockoff, as it's probably not going to be Ice Beam. Thunder Wave to make sure, it's not getting swept ever. When you have 2 Extreme Speed resists in the back, knockoff could potentially allow for you to break multi-scale and maybe get rocks up later with Landorus. A lot of different ways to go about it here. So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what the set is.
Yeah. It is Thunder Wave.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, unfortunate full para.
Yeah, full para there. I wonder if we're going to see another E-Speed. But no, Dragon Dance. And if it's Ice Spinner, it will be slower. But after rocks, you should be able to take out most Landorus. So that's good. If it is that variant, of course, we're going to wait and see.
And... it actually just goes for the U-turn to break the multi-scale.
Okay.
Second Dragon Dance.
Okay, and it's lefties too. Knock there does a ton, but Earthquake is going to do enough to where E-Speed will take this out. The main potential issue is if you click Extreme Speed into a Goldengo, or if you click it into a Terra Ghost and it clicks Roost, that could be really troublesome, so... Personally, if I'm Pkel, I'm still clicking Extreme Speed because you force that Terra, or you make that Moon switch out. But at the same time, there is some merit to trying to force a misplay here, force a Terra here. So we're gonna have to wait and see.
Absolutely, and
yeah, Tribute is going to call that out, but what's worth noting about that sequence is, unless this is a really bulky Dragonite, given Knockoff doing 80%, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not. +1 Earthquake doing 54 means this is a bulky Roaring Moon. So Pkel probably knows his own Roaring Moon speed, of course, and probably is like, okay. So first and foremost, I'm probably quicker, and even if I'm not, he's not going to be able to like one-shot me. Like, they never run Outrage. And if this reveals Terra Blast Fairy here, that could be an opening for the right Valiant set to counter sweep him. If, for example, it's Calm Mind, Vacuum Wave, Shadow Ball, if you've burnt your Terrestrialization on a weakened Roaring Moon, and it has that Vacuum Wave to take out the Gambit, and Shadow Ball with Terra Ghost to take out the Goldengo, that's like a one-way ticket to finding a way to lose this game. So Tribute is never going to go for that here. So this Roaring Moon, while it looks weird bringing it into an opposing Roaring Moon, it's the least valuable member of Pkel's team, and it saves like the set variants of Iron Valiant in the back. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I like the note that your Roaring Moon speed, and how bulky the opposing Roaring Moon is. So you probably know that yours is faster. That's an interesting.
Or if you're not fast, you could at least withstand an attack and Dragon Dance up and still be like at enough health to say live a Sucker Punch or live a U-turn from Landorus, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth noting that Pkel did tank for some time to think about that decision, so probably ran some calcs.
Thinking man's decision.
Yep, exactly. And we're going to see the booster energy activate on Pkel's Roaring Moon. And that looks quite nice. Here comes the Ogre Pawn as the sack.
Yeah.
King Gambit.
And we're going to see King Gambit here. And King Gambit is almost... Oh, it's Balloon. Okay. So Brick Break really has fallen off the face of the earth. So it's almost certainly not going to be able to take out this Balloon Gambit. And having this in the back is huge because it is a fair likelihood that this was Earthquake last, as it was faster than the opposing Roaring Moon, and max speed runs Earthquake with Terra Ground, or Terra Flying Acrobatics with Earthquake last a ton. It could, of course, still be Roost or Taunt or a number of other things, right? But the fact that you now can't get this kill with Earthquake, you can't even force a Terra, makes this a really free Iron Head or Low Kick for Attribute here. And all Roaring Moon can really do is either attack or pray somehow it's not Iron Head and switch to Iron Valiant on a Low Kick, which is a crazy man's play. We're not going to see that sort of risk. So my guess is that Attribute basically went into that line, foddering off the Wellspring, and knew that he had this balloon in the back, and Pkel was kind of hoping it would not be the air balloon. And this is definitely like another leg up for Attribute, I'd say.
Absolutely. And we are going to see the Roaring Moon go for that knockoff. Here's the low kick, and I'm not sure the crit mattered.
No. I mean, given that it was faster, given that it was acrobatics, which again is typically 3 attacks, this probably was almost killing from 100%, definitely 72%. So what this does show, though, since that +1 knock did 43, is this probably isn't a super bulky King Gambit. So something like Moonblast from a Iron Valiant may have a chance to kill this, despite not being boosted. But also, it revealing Low Kick could mean that it doesn't have Iron Head. So again, there's another moment here where there's a ton of nuance. If you have an Iron Valiant, for example, out against a King Gambit, neither side has revealed Terra. We don't know if the King Gambit has Iron Head or not. We don't know if it's special or physical Iron Valiant. This game, while it's 2-5, if Pkel had to pick like the 2 Pokemon to reverse sweep this game, Iron Valiant and an unrevealed Walking Wake set are like 2 of the top like 5 or 10 Pokemon in the metagames that reverse sweep this. So a ton is left in the hanging in the balance here. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Iron Valiant, and I'm thinking with the right Terra type, I mean, especially if King Gambit does go down here, could be incredibly strong. And we're going to see the Iron Valiant come in, activate the Quark Drive with the booster energy. And
that's a great fodder there on a Calm Mind. He banked on it not being Iron Head. And yeah, Moonblast will take this out. So we're going to see Goldengo here, almost definitely, yep. So now, again, this is another like very nuanced turn where, and I think Attribute, and we see here Terra Fairy, that's a great play because you otherwise could die to Terra, Ghost, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball. So that would kill this, and therefore you'd be able to 1v1 Landorus, even if Landorus lived the Moonblast, and you'd win the game. So you have to Terra here as a Tribute.
Okay.
Valiant probably just click Shadow Ball if it has it. Otherwise, it probably just clicks Moonblast, and it's then going to be Walking Wake against a World, essentially. That's what if I had to guess.
Yep, just click
and
Shadow
we're
Ball.
Gonna see that Shadow Ball. It does get a drop, which probably doesn't matter at all. And now we're going to see Walking Wake. And if you could pause for a second as he sends it out here. So Walking Wake on these type of teams is more of a thing of the past than of the present. We used to see it run booster special attack, where it didn't max out it maxed out a special attack essentially to have it higher than base speed, where you click agility so you're able to outrun faster Pokemon like Dax's Speed, like Wellspring, like Moon, etc. And then with that special attack boost and a defensive Terra type, you can potentially, go to war. Or you could run Terra Water and just do as much damage as possible with Hydro Pump, which it sometimes ran. And then a lot of times it ran Substitute as the 4th move. And this Substitute allowed you to get around, King Gambit, get around Raging Bolt with those moves that were priority, but only hit you if you clicked on attacking. And it was seen as good. But then people were like, oh, it's so much better on Sun teams. And people eventually started using the heavy-duty boot set with Knockoff and Roar or Flip Turn on balance. And honestly, it kind of got lost in the shuffle with all the other insanely power-crept Pokemon on Hyper Offense that it didn't see much usage. So, truth be told, this could be anything. My guess would be Agility, but it could be Fairy, Steel, Poison, Dragon, Water. Dark, there's a whole slew of possible Terra types, and ultimately Pkel has a free as possible agility window right here, right now against this minus special attack Goldango. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the response is going to be, because nothing can really one-shot this Walking Wake as things stand.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it should be noted that, Pkel is kind of a against the grain builder, and on the against the grain team. Members of it, like Super Epic Ampharos and Zern, like to build wacky sets all the time, and Pkel notably brought double choice band water rain team earlier this SPL, a bunch of wacky stuff. So this Walking Wake literally could be anything, and I'm excited to see what it is. Oh, there's the agility.
We're going to see the agility. Gleam at -1 is going to do enough to put it in the Sucker Punch range. But there's, two bits of nuance there. The first being, if it's Terra Fairy, you live Sucker Punch at 38. Or if it's like Terra Dark, again, the same dynamic. And the second being that you can have Substitute. And if it clicks Sucker Punch on Substitute, then it's bad. So this is going to be very interesting to see here. We're going to see Roaring Moon fodder. That makes a ton of sense. Hydro Pump does connect, and that is the water move of choice. Goldango comes back in here now. He has to hit the Hydro Pump on this again. I don't think that really mattered. It might be Custap Berry Goldango. Okay. What's it at, 41 now? So, wait a minute. If he goes back to Goldango here, he's at 30%, 29%, right? So then if he switches to King Gambit here, on this turn, keep it paused for a second here. If he switches King Gambit here, hypothetically speaking, then it will be in Custap range and take it out. But here's the crazy thing, right? If he clicks Substitute on the switch to King Gambit, but then it can still Sucker Punch to break it. So he might not be, but he could stall out all Sucker Punch, and then it comes down like 8-50-50. It also could be a bluff of Custap, and if he bluffs Custap and he switches, and if he stays in, this is crazy.
Tense turn.
So basically, long story short is, it could be Custap or it could be a bluff. It could be Substitute. It could be 3 attacks. Sucker Punch is going to break the sub, even if it's Terra Fairy. But at the same time, you have to get those turns right. And if you kill this Goldango here and you're at 38% and you are Terra Fairy or you are Substitute, then you just win the game. So if it's not, then Attribute's just trying to bait a choke or bait a misplay a scout here. There's a ton of nuance here. This is what makes Terra and endgames and SV so interesting, but also so scary. So all we can really do at this point is sit back and see what happens.
Yeah, this is going to be a scary couple turns. Here it is. King Gambit is in. And we'll go down to the Hydro Pump.
Well, is it Custap Berry? And if it is Custap Berry, then is there a way for this Walking Wake to live a hit from 38? Shadow Ball will, at worst, be a roll to kill if it's offensive, but if it's defensive, there's a better chance that Walking Wake lives. But Dazzling Gleam with Terra will always kill it if it's Terra Dragon or it stays. But there's the possibility of Terra Steel or of Terra Fairy. I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait and see.
Here it is.
It is Custap Berry. Terra Poison. Oh my god, on the Gleam. And that's going to take it out. Wow. And this has been one of the biggest comebacks. I mean, going down from 5-2 to win with this last Pokemon Walking Wake against all the odds. What a crazy and important game in a decisive week. Probably one of my favorite games of the tournament, just with all of the wacky back and forth. Tribute honestly played a really great game too. I think that ending sequence was optimal, and you can't really predict it to be Terra Blast, Terra Fairy. I mean, because also Tribute thought, you'd have to hit another Hydro Pump if it did, live, and that's just crazy. So yeah, really, really enjoyable game there.
Incredibly so. That was exciting on every level.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for commentating this with me, Finch. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been Gold Mason and Finchinator commentating the Gen 9 game between Pkel SweeTforU and ATTRIBUTE, and we will see you next time on another SPL commentated set.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. You guys have a great day.